Hello, I'm Shieldwall100 and welcome to my first video review. Well, my first video at all, actually. I will be reviewing and discussing games in this series, including card, miniature and video games, because, well, playing is what I like to do. Anyway, less introduction talk and more review talk. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Maurice from Sam Mustafa Publishing in the States. Maurice is a miniatures wargame set nominally in the late 17th century, late 18th century, or if you're like me, it's that time period before Napoleon with more interesting hats. I mean, that's it for me. Horse and musket wargame is all about hats, and tricorns are sexier by far than shakos. Actually, tricorns are about as sexy as anything anywhere. Or is that unicorns? Anyway, Maurice is set during that very busy period in history, but as many rule sets, it can stretch a little bit outside the period if you like the mechanics enough to try to do so. A quick word on the title. It's named after a certain Maurice de Saxe, who was a French general who apparently beat the British in a battle, so that makes him worthy of note. Apparently he was also famous for being very, very successful with the women, so they have him return him to La Forme Française. The game itself seems to be well supported on the publisher's website. There's a link in the description. You'll find the cheat sheets to download, along with a nifty little free version of the game if A, you like to try before you buy, and B, you can handle the soul-crushing torment of printing, cutting and gluing the necessary deck of cards to accompany the game. On to the product itself. There are two components to purchase before you can play. A rulebook and a set of cards. Combined together you will be shelling out around 30 quid in the UK, which, although not grievously expensive, it's enough to make me want a professional looking product and of good quality. Fortunately, Maurice delivers in these regards. There are sufficient cards to not make you feel ripped off, and the quality of finish is very high. I myself put the ones most likely to be abused in deck protectors, but they look and feel like they will hold up to a good shuffling. The rulebook itself is lovely. I'd actually use it as a guide to the balance of content between rules, diagrams and flavour. The binding has proven very strong with me. Trust me, I put books through the ringer on my commute to work and back. So, as you can see from the example pages I'm showing, it's all full colour and laid out to be easy on the eye. This does help when one is playing because there is no index, although to be fair, the quick reference sheets are set out with just about everything you'll need to look up in the normal game anyway. That's all very well and good, I hear the questioning voices of the derision gnomes in my head asking, but how does the game play? Well, I've tried this out a few times and I can report a very smooth set of rules and a fun game to boot. The pictures of the game you're seeing are from one I played against my father over Christmas. All the models are mine, and one side is using my Napoleonic Russians, while the other has some War of the Spanish Succession era figures I got especially for the period. The lovely thing with the model 6mm high is that I can get away with this sort of thing. There's a sliding measurement scale based upon the model's own base width, so you can use pretty much any scale of figure, unit size or basing system, so long as both sides work out roughly the same. I'm not going to go into the rules in any depth here. As I said, there's a basic version available for free, but I will tell you that the card set is a crucial component of the game. The action cards are used as a means of ordering your troops, but they also serve as a source of temporary bonuses or unexpected events. In the game shown, I managed to place a hitherto unmapped marsh right in the path of my father's cavalry, with one action card used in his event. Then later on he was able to play a bonus on said cavalry unit, enabling them to find a pathway through the swamp, much to my delight. You get a hand of action cards to use as you see fit, but behaving more aggressively only permits you to pick up fewer as replacements. This adds a whole new sub-game to the battle, as you have to leave something in your hand to react to your opponent's moves, but you are constantly tempted to play cards for their instant bonuses. A clever general can get his opponent to burn through his hand for little gain, then hit him with a counter-attack that his enemy will struggle to react to. The movement and shooting rules are nice and straightforward. There was nothing in there that seemed odd to me, and there's a nice emphasis on manoeuvre. The overall feel I get is one whereby you are role-playing the general of your army, rather than moving each unit in the army independently of its comrades, like in many rule sets I've seen. It's successful to the point where I put it on a par with the command and control system of the like seen in games such as Black Powder and War Master. Yeah. So, what we have here is a generic but well-designed rule set with no flavour, I hear you say. Well, not at all. We're actually coming on to the best and most distinctive part of the Maurice game. I already described the action cards and their uses, but the full set contains much more than just these. There are national advantage cards that you can use when you create your army. You can do this to match the specific strengths of a historical nation, or, for me, a better alternative is being able to create a country all of my own, hence the fetching purple uniforms as modelled by my models. Creating a nation of your own, like one of the several hundred German states around at this time, can be a really interesting little project if you have that kind of mind. It further allows you to indulge in the roleplay of your general and how he came to lead your nation's army. As a further boost to the flavour is the inclusion of a considerable number of cards representing gentlemen who have turned up at court and have wheedled their way into joining your army. They had a lot of fun to the game, and to date their influence has not broken any of the games I've been part of. Both you and your opponent deal out the number that you want, and then they jockey for position around your army. There's a wealth of variety in the different notables, and they further ensure that your games are always different. So for those of you sitting on the fence about yet another rule set, I always think that it is worth considering the economics. The rulebook cost me £20 and the card set another £10, and that's a major outlay for me if I'm not going to be playing this every week. Well, for those of you lucky enough to belong to clubs or gaming groups, you'd only need the one rulebook between all of you, and only one set of cards per battle that you intend to run at the same time. Even if there's only two of you interested, £15 each is well worth it. Truly, the most expensive part of the hobby in money, time and broken friendships is the collecting of the figures themselves. Given the very lenient and accommodating guidelines on setting up your troops, if you already have figures collected from anywhere around this broad time period, then you'll be able to use Maurice without issue. As I said earlier, I've used Napoleonic era figures as one invented country against War of the Spanish Succession era models in purple coats, and it did not feel wrong. If that last sentence causes your nostril hairs to curl up into your brain, then this game can be played completely historically, I assure you. The point I'm making here is that there's no need to rebase existing collections, which is a major advantage so often ignored these days by other rule sets. So that's Maurice, War in the Age of Gentlemen and Philosophers. There's loads more in this game that I haven't actually had a chance to touch on, like guides on recreating historical battles and a really fun looking campaign system for linking games together and playing in larger groups over a longer period of time. It's great fun, excellent quality and recommended by me. So long for now. Ta-da!